p.m. Mathis, your local indie author distributor, and I hope that you've had a great and glorious hump day. Yes. Well, I've been on my um, themed path of speaking to different areas that I think are important, and this week I'm working on influence. So, as I was saying on my live post on my Pew Partner page. And if you haven't seen it, please go out there and jump on my Pew Partner page and take a look at it. I think it's fairly decent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I have a few words of encouragement down in me, and I hope that it would be a blessing to you. So, as an influencer, continuing on from earlier, you know, it takes time, it takes effort on your part, it takes an ability to stand in the midst of darts coming at you, words coming at you, thought processes going out, things swirling around your head that have nothing to do with what you're trying to do. But in the midst of those things, I think we build. I think we become stronger. And I think that we are able to see when things do come, we're still able to move forward. We're still able to work. We're still able to motivate. We're still able to influence, because why? That what we saw in the past is actually propelling us into our future. It gives us hope. It gives us joy. It gives us peace. And an understanding that people just can't have if they don't know from which you started. Because people just look at where you are right now generally, because they don't know your past or what has transpired. I mean, I'm sure people, unless I tell you, wouldn't necessarily look at me and know I lost my mom more than 20 years ago, and how devastatingly painful that has been, how unbearable sometimes it is not to have her to talk to. Because in this life, there are things that I've come up against that I had no clue how to handle, losing her at 24 years old and just basically having, a new baby who was 13 months old when she passed. So I had to grow up a little bit faster than I wanted to. I had to trust my own instincts, to influence my own environment, and demand a form of respect for myself and my child. Because if I did not, people are just generally not going to give that to you. Now, I'm not harsh and I'm not mean. I'm just very blunt, and I'm very passionate. I'm very straight to the point. I don't like a whole bunch of nonsense in my environment, or a whole bunch of drama. I just don't have time for that. And that kind of stuff doesn't give me peace. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily know that I've walked through depression and came out on the other side of it. You don't know how many devastating relationships I've had, or how many losses, that I've had trying to find that love and that man who would be there for me. And how devastating it's been not to have my father. But those things will help me speak to someone else. They will help me influence somebody else to understand that even though that happened, it doesn't have to be your end. Even though, life didn't give you what you wanted in the beginning, oh my gosh, how glorious it can be in the end. So, just wanted to give you a little piece of that, and encourage you to go over there and check out my live videos on my Pew Partner page at Facebook. So this is my series, Are You Getting Head? Your End Results. And this is taken from Daniel 12. Now, like I always say, this is just my commentary, and I encourage you to do what? Study, study, study the word for yourself, because it is in your best interest to study to show yourself approved. Because why? That is clearly what the word says. It is not my advice to you, although it's good advice, but that's what God said, to study to show yourself approved. So in Daniel 12, we know it talks about the dead will rise to everlasting life, and the shame will be condemned to an everlasting contempt. In the end times, and God will be victorious. So you need to stand on the side of God. I mean, it may not look like that our God is victorious or that we have the victory, but by God we do. Just because you're seeing what you see right now, don't be fooled. God is not one to be mocked. God created this world. He created everything in this world, and nothing stands higher or more powerful than our God. So I would encourage you to, like I said, know the promises of God in His Word. Know your ability to stand, to have peace, to have joy, to have forgiveness, and to honestly forgive yourself, because sometimes it's harder for us to forgive ourselves than somebody else. But you've got to have that peace within, because your end result has to be better than your beginning. So we're getting my time is running out, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, this is my series, Are You Getting Ahead? Your End Results, coming from Daniel 12. Ties can be the cause of you losing out, so step lightly in familiar territory. Your sidebar can read helpful, sincere, and beneficial. That is how your end can be better than your start. Remember, this life is not about you. You are called to be the light that shines your arrow to the one who gave you a second chance, and that is our Savior, Jesus. God is there to help you transition smoothly and give you a safe place to fall if you find that there are some bumps along the way, and there will be some bumpy places that you will have to cross. Although you cannot let this stop you before you take hold of your progress to hold the door open for somebody else. Even though you have these bumps in the road, don't let it shut you down. Don't let it close any doors to you helping somebody else. That's ultimately what I'm saying. You have to check around you every now and again to reestablish your position in any given circumstance. So your end result will be eternity with God, who created you to give seeds of who He is, so that they can reap a harvest of blessings. Those people that you're called to influence, God has asked you to plant those little bitty seeds. He's not asking you to grow them, because you can't do that. We only have as much influence as God will allow us to have, and that is to just ultimately tell somebody about Him, lead somebody to Christ. And that just means in the gifts and talents that God has given you, we show people grace, and we show them mercy, we show them love, and we show them forgiveness in the way that God has created you to do that. It takes time to get noticed. So know that what you do, your motives have to be pure. For forward momentum is that you are to be a helpmate to those God has given you charge over. Know that your ability to influence and have power over people is not to harm them, is not to gain power for yourself, or to say that, look what I can do. Everything that we do, if you believe and you have faith in God, is to point them to Him, not to help them see how great you are. Because even making that name for yourself is to be made for the kingdom. I do what I do because I love God. I trust Him. I know that everything that I have, He has provided. Every gratitude, every grace, every mercy, every decision, every wise choice, that comes from God. It has nothing to do with me, because ultimately my wise choice would be just to stay in the bed and not deal with people. But God says no, and He has put me in the position to ultimately ultimately be a leader for others. So, guys, I hope that this has been a blessing for you. Remember, this is P.M. Mathis, your local indie author distributor, and I hope, as always, 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 that you are what? Blessed. Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.